I believe in miracles. No matter how odd or far-fetched that simple statement may sound, it is true. But let me clarify. I believe in realistic miracles. Miracles that appear in newspapers, on the evening news, or when just chatting with someone you recently met. Miracles like being able to walk again after being paralyzed for years, finding your daughter that was kidnapped over 10 years ago alive and well, the miracle of passing a math test you were almost sure you would fail. These miracles, in my opinion, are what make life, life. Whether they affect you or not, they are real, and one cannot deny the absolute essence of them. So where did this belief come from? From experience, from an event in my life that indeed is a miracle and has since changed my life forever. I was 9 years old in the year of 2005 when I received a phone call. However, this was no ordinary phone call. This was a one-in-a-million event that in my wildest dreams I would have never expected. It had always just been my mom and I, well, and a few pets here and there. But she was my everything. She loved me, she supported me, and she fulfilled the duty of both parents as well and as successfully as any other mom and dad could. I did not know much about my father at this time. All I had of him was just a regular photograph. Other than that, all I knew was that he and my mother had split up before I was even born, and that they had not been in contact from that day forward. Nevertheless, what I admire about my mother is that no matter what exactly occurred between her and my father, and what her opinion was of him then, she never talked bad about him. She would always say that he was a great man and treated her well, and would have loved me from the start. Would have was the problem. Why was he not in my life? Why did he not care about me? Why was he not here to take me to the park like all the other kids' dads do? Why didn't he love me? This was a constant thought of mine, but unfortunately I could never think of a legitimate enough reason. What I did know was that one day when I was much older, I was going to hire a crew of FBI agents to go and find him. There was no doubt about it. This was not just another childhood dream. I was as determined as could be in the 3rd grade. But in the meantime, I was proactive and did what I knew would help me, whether it be sooner or later. I prayed. I prayed to God that my dad would come back. I prayed that he was safe and happy with the life he lived. I prayed that one day we would be so close that it would be as if he had been there all along. But back to that miraculous day. My mom and I had just entered the door, arriving from my softball practice, when the phone rang. My mom answered it. "Hello," she said. No answer. "Hello," she said. No answer. "Hello," she said once more. Finally, as she was just about to hang up, a voice said, Hi, I am looking for Lisa Kempton. I don't know if I have the right one." My mom, already irritated, replied, "Which one are you looking for?" "This is Louise," my father said, and my mother instantly realized who was on the other end of the call. She was awestruck. "Yes, this is her," she said curiously, "and I am looking at your 9-year-old daughter sitting on my couch right now." Although I probably should have figured it out, at that time I had no idea who my mom was speaking to. Who would have guessed? I didn't even have a clue. But my mom took the phone and continued the conversation outside on the porch. I was inside doing who knows what, but then I walked outside to ask my mom if I could eat some watermelon. Before returning inside, I simply asked, "Mom, who are you talking to?" She looked at me, smiled, and said, "Your father." I was speechless, wide-eyed, confused. My mom tells me I had the look of a sad child, as if I was going to say, "No, don't joke with me like that." But I just stood there. What else was I supposed to do when I was just informed that my mom was supposedly talking to my dad? "Do you want to talk to him?" she eagerly asked. "Sure," I said meekly and took the phone. "Hello?" "Hi, Taylor. This is your dad." And that, my friends, is what I call a miracle. A father returning to his daughter he had neglected for so long and wanting to be a part of her life, no matter the 9 years that separated them. He knew nothing about me except my name, and I knew nothing more than the simple fact that he was my father. Yet I was as happy as can be. I had no magical powers. I was no superhero. I had simply received an answer to my countless prayers. The phone call that day continued for quite a while, ranging from what my favorite color was, to what sports I liked to play, to him telling me that I had 10 cousins in Mexico that I obviously did not know, but would soon meet. About a month after our first conversation, he flew from his hometown of Guadalajara, Mexico, to Phoenix to meet me for the first time. I still smile looking back on it. Him knocking on the door, me answering it, staring at each other for what seemed like an eternity. "Do you know who I am?" he asked. I had dreamt about this day my whole entire childhood, and at that moment my life couldn't have been more perfect. My dad. So yes, I do believe in miracles. I believe I have every right to.